Well, on our Military Collectors TV segment this week, I want to talk specifically about restoration, okay? Now, again, we previously showed you pictures of this, I call it a barn find, but again, this WC-53, there's just not many of them out there. Some estimate that out of the 7,000 or so that were built back during the war, that maybe today, there's probably less than 1,000 of them, and that may even be the high side, maybe 500, that are around the country. Some folks bought these things back in the day, they made restro mods out of them, but you know, for the purist and the military collector, restoring one of these has various degrees of exactly what restoration means. Now, on this one, it's a very good candidate for an off-frame restoration. Now, what does that mean? That means this whole body and all this thing is going to come off this frame. Now, there are certain mounts under there that are wooden, that all can be replaced. Again, you can reach out to John Beisel at Midwest Military. He has all of those types of parts. He's got running board bolts. I mean, again, check with John. Also check with the guys out at Vintage Power Wagons in Iowa. Jens Butler, just a great source out there. Because again, what I've tried to do with both of my restorations of these vehicles is I've tried to figure out exactly what is it I'm going to need. I know the engine's going to have to be replaced. I know the drivetrain's going to have to be rebuilt. All of the wheels, the rear ends, all of that stuff, the axles, the bearings, you name it. In order for that thing to be roadworthy, which for me, I want all that stuff to either to be rebuilt or as new. So, what does that cost? Well, again, you're looking at probably anywhere from $70 to $85 an hour, okay, in restoration. Now you're saying, okay, Redford, that's not bad. That's better than probably an automobile shop where most new car dealers are charging anywhere from $125 to $145 an hour. Well, what you have to understand is the business model for folks that restore these things is like, you leave this thing with me, this is not something I'm going to finish in a couple of weeks, okay? I may tinker with it today for an hour. That's $85. I may get the headlights off, whatever that case may be. The days of you walking into a guy and saying, all right, I want this thing to look like this picture, and I want it to be restored, and I want it off-frame restoration, and I want it to look as if it just came off the factory showroom floor back in 1942. They're going to look at you and scratch their head, and they're saying, okay, Bob, I'll tell you, we could probably do that. But that's going to be probably about 100 hours worth of work. And that doesn't even include the parts. So you do 100 times $80 an hour, that's $80,000 just in labor to put in to restore one of these things. You're probably looking at another $10,000 to $15,000 worth of parts. That's if you can acquire them all, okay? I'm not trying to discourage anybody from saving one of these from going to the dump, okay? What I'm trying to tell you is this is not one of those things that's for the lighthearted or the light pocketbook. Many people don't understand, and you know, when you watch a Barrett Jackson live and you watch a muscle car and all those cars that are supposedly restored that go through the line over there, sometimes they bring $115,000. Other times they may bring only $15,000 when the market's down. Same thing with these. You think you've got a $150,000 to $200,000 vehicle just merely because that's what you may have over 125 in it. But that's not any sign that you're going to get somebody to pay that. Again, that's just the risk that you take. Are they worth it? I think they are, or I wouldn't have them, okay? What you try to do is to do it smartly. I've got some guys that help me with certain drivetrain things that I'm not capable of doing. I've got certain body folks that can do all my sheet metal work and do the body work. But again, it still gets expensive. Parts-wise, just the first one that I did of these, I spent over $15,000 in parts, just in parts. And that just included bearings, redo of the engines, all of that goes with it. That doesn't even count some of the interior work that you got to do. All the seats have got to be covered. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that go into that. You can spend maybe up to $5,000, $20,000 in parts, okay? Because the problem is there are a lot of new old stock parts out there that you might be able to acquire on the internet, okay? But the problem problem is it up to today's standards of riding it out on the highway? I want to be able to show this thing off. I want to be able to put it on the road. I don't want to have to worry that I'm using 75-year-old technology and put it back on the road. It was all good back then, because what you have to understand is the military and Dodge built these things to be expendable. They didn't think that they were going to last on the battlefield more than 60 days. They had no idea that from 1942 vis-a-vis 19 whatever it was, and now into the 21st century, that these things were still going to be around and folks still wanted to showcase them. You've got to talk about the restoration piece of just the sheet metal, just the frame, okay? And inside you can see that this one has some problems. It has both inside the fenders. Inside those window crank areas and those window boxes, I haven't even got those off yet. I can just tell you with the rust that's down on the floor, it's probably not good. So that's all going to have to be redone. Probably the window regulator mechanisms. Those are very, very hard to find, so I've got to find somebody to either reproduce them or I've got to find some used ones. When you get up into the gauges, okay, you can either buy replacement gauges, or there's some folks up in Michigan that I have found that'll redo those old gauges and make them look like new. Not cheap, but that's okay. It depends on what you want. Do you want an authentic restoration? Do you want every nut and bolt replaced in one of these vehicles? Well, in this one, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you'll have well over $100,000 to $125,000 in something like that if that's what you want. But that's a decision you got to make. Is it still salvageable? Is it still one of those things that's worth preserving? I think it is. It just depends on how much money you got and how in depth you want to go. Well, as you see us tear this thing down in the future, we're going to tear it apart. I'm going to have replacement parts. I'm going to have folks that do the work for me, and we're going to do this slowly in a process. So if you want to watch more of our YouTube videos and more of the videos that we're producing on this restoration, go to militarycollectorstv.com or go to our Facebook page or go to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to stay up with how the restoration process is going with this 1942 Dodge WC-53 carryall.